Strap yourselves in, kiddies, because we're in for a bumpy fucking ride. Today we're talking about The Bitter Truth, the latest studio album from pop, alternative, and gothic metal hybrid crew Evanescence. This is their first album of original material in 10 years. It is their fifth studio album overall, and it is also, in my humble opinion at least, their worst album to date. Now, I know for a fact that many of you have already written this thing off entirely, and I also know for a fact that many of you hope and expect that I've done the same, cough cough Robert Sparling, who messaged me for weeks on end about this goddamn thing. But I haven't because, confession time folks, not only am I a fan of Evanescence, but I've been a fan since day fucking one. I remember when Fallen dropped way back in 2003 because I bought that album, and I also remember buying the Daredevil soundtrack on CD because the songs Bring Me to Life and My Immortal were featured prominently throughout the film. I even remember when those two songs were so popular that they were being played on major pop stations in regular rotation with hit singles from the Black Eyed Peas, Christina Aguilera, Avril Lavigne, Britney Spears, and Shania fucking Twain. And that's not all, folks, because believe it or not, the first rock concert I ever went to was Evanescence and Stone Sour at the Air Canada Centre on January 8th, 2007. I say this now to make it crystal clear that the words leaving my mouth come not from a close-minded metal elitist looking to bitch and moan about something semi-popular, but from a genuine fan who sees the bitter truth of the bitter truth. It fucking sucks. Hard. This is one of the most boring pieces of pop metal tripe I've heard in recent memory. This is as eventful and exciting as standing in line at the bank, as bold and spicy and flavorful as a middle-aged white woman's potato salad. The music is lame, predictable, repetitive, formulaic, stripped near clean of all previous influences from metal and gothic music, feeling almost watered down in an attempt to appeal to an even broader audience. The track Wasted on You drolls on a monotonous and generic pop rock beat with sappy electronics and muddy guitar work. Yeah, right, tries to be a little sassy, a little spunky, like a darker take on a Pink-style rock song. But instead it just feels kinda silly, packing a few cringy lyrics and one of the weakest hooks on the entire album. Tracks like Better Without You, The Game Is Over, Take Cover, and many more aspire to be ferocious declarative anthems, bringing in edgier lyrics and riffs, but all completely fall flat, almost feeling like pale imitations of Evanescence itself. But we can't just blame the cookie-cutter radio rock songwriting. The blame must absolutely be shared with the production and sound mixing, which, quite frankly, robs the music of all potential impact long before you even push play on this motherfucker. Guitars, keyboards, percussion consistently strike with the uncompromising force of a bag of soggy Rice Krispies. And there are so many wasted opportunities, so many moments that should feel gigantic, but don't because the sound mix pushes everything to the back, practically burying itself in its own grave. The track Use My Voice is a fantastic example. Having been written in response to the Brock Turner conviction, there is genuine fight and anger brewing underneath this thing, not to mention vocal contributions from members of Hailstorm, The Pretty Reckless, Within Temptation, and it's all completely wasted. What should feel like a triumphant anthem for the Me Too era instead feels so flat and lifeless. The backing vocals are so hollow, so synthetic. The music lacks urgency, and Amy Lee weirdly seems tuned out of everything. Their cover of Fleetwood Mac's The Chain is a great example as well. This version practically demands your attention with strings and keyboards, emboldening that still iconic chorus, but never quite captures it because the sound mix simply won't allow the song to do so. What was once an anthem of heartbreak and a fragile unity now has the size and scale of a bunch of mopey teenagers singing karaoke. It's especially disappointing when you learn that this album is mixed and produced by Nick Raskulinecz, who has produced some fantastic material in the past for Deftones, Mastodon, Foo Fighters, Alice in Chains. He even worked with Evanescence on their self-titled album in 2011, which, quite frankly, sounds way better than this. He even produced my favorite album of 2020, Underneath from Code Orange, but 1 year later, this is what he's giving us. Oh my fucking lord. The only person who comes out of this sounding semi-decent is Amy Lee herself. She clearly still gives a fuck. It's evident in her raw talent and in more evocative cuts like Far From Heaven. If the production and songwriting gave her room to breathe and really grab the spotlight, this album probably would have been a lot more engaging and a lot more memorable. But as it stands, it feels like a culmination of the worst elements of the band's discography, produced with the competency that I would expect from Disney Channel pop music. I've noticed major publications like Metal Hammer already praising this album for being so adventurous and so provocative and so powerful. But all I hear is a band going through the motions, making what is expected of them, trading in the size and the scale and lush evocative soundscapes in favor of a more radio-friendly pop-like presentation. I'm honestly going to give this a 1 out of 5. The Bitter Truth isn't catchy, it isn't clever, the tracks bleed together into one hot, clumsy, derivative mess. The album just lacks any real depth, any real character, and the edgy but fun melodrama delivered by previous records is simply nowhere to be found here. And don't y'all dare to fucking try and tell me otherwise, because I listened to every single Evanescence album all over again leading up to the Bitter Truth's release, and guess what? They all hold up just fine. Mostly. Some parts here or there are kind of stupid, but the point remains, I would happily pick any of their previous records over this one. Any day of the fucking week. It's so bad I feel like I now owe an apology to other recent pop metal releases from Architects and Rob Zombie. At the very least, I may need to reevaluate them in the near future. So yeah, 1 out of 5. It's terrible. It's their worst album yet. I really gave it an honest fucking shot for a multitude of reasons that hopefully I shouldn't have to explain at this point in the video. But at the end of the day, the bitter truth is that I just don't like the bitter fucking truth. 1 out of 5. Terrible. And that is it for the Metal Meltdown. I'm not an expert, nor do I claim to be. So what do you think? Do you like this record? Do you not like this record? And what do you want to hear from me next? And thank you for watching. Make sure you press subscribe right here so you get updates on the Metal Meltdown immediately. And as always, you have yourself a fantastic fucking day.